Hey folks, welcome back to Coding Content, where we break down the chaotic world of programming with just a touch of sarcasm and a sprinkle of harsh comedic love. Today, we're diving into a topic that's as essential to a programmer as coffee is to my morning routine: version control systems. Or, as I like to call them, the time machines of the coding world. Now, if you're sitting there thinking, version control? Isn't that just for fancy dev teams? Bless your heart. Let's clear that up right away. If you're writing code and you're not using a version control system, it's like trying to navigate a maze blindfolded while juggling flaming swords. Sure, you might survive, but why would you willingly choose that chaos? Imagine this. You've been working on a project for weeks, and suddenly, you make a change that sends everything crashing down faster than a house of cards in a windstorm. Without version control, you'd be stuck digging through old files, trying to remember exactly what you changed. But with a version control system, you can just roll back to a previous version, like it was just another Tuesday. It's like having a DeLorean, but for your code. Great Scott. Let's talk about Git, the Beyoncé of version control systems. It's open source, it's everywhere, and it's got more branches than a tree in a hurricane. With Git, you can track every single change you make, collaborate seamlessly with others, and most importantly, it gives you the power to say, hey, I'm not really sure what I'm doing, but at least I can undo it. And here's the best part. Git doesn't judge. You can make all the mistakes you want, and Git just politely keeps track of them, allowing you to fix things up later. It's like having a friend who remembers everything you've ever done wrong, but loves you anyway. Isn't that beautiful? Let's not forget about those magical places called repositories. GitHub, GitLab, Bitbucket. Think of them as the social media platforms for your code. Except, instead of posting pictures of your cat or your breakfast, you're sharing your code with the world and hoping someone will give you a star, or maybe a fork if they're really into it. Now, I know some of you might be lone wolves thinking, I don't need to collaborate with anyone. I'm a one-person coding army. But even if you're the only one working on your project, version control is your safety net. It's like having an invisible friend who's always got your back. Plus, it makes you look super professional when you eventually have to show your work to someone else. You know, like a future employer who might see your repo and think, ah yes, this person knows how to Git. Now let's sprinkle in a bit of history, because who doesn't love a good origin story? Git was created by Linus Torvalds, the guy who gave us Linux. He built it in 2005 because he was frustrated with existing version control systems. So basically, Git was born out of rage and the desire for a better way, which, come to think of it, is how most great things are created. And here's a little fun fact for you. Git is British slang for a silly or incompetent person. Yes, the irony is strong with this one. But hey, if it works, right? So how do you get started with version control? Install Git, create a repository, and start committing your changes. It's like writing a diary, but instead of your deepest secrets, you're documenting all your coding trials and triumphs. And just like a diary, it's there for you to look back on and cringe at your past mistakes. In conclusion, if you're not using a version control system, it's time to wake up and smell the coffee, my friend. It's a game changer, a lifesaver, and honestly, it's just good practice. Don't be the person who loses hours of work because you didn't take the time to set up version control. Be the person who can say, oops, I broke everything, but don't worry, I've got it under control. And that's all for today, folks. Remember, coding is a journey, not a destination. So buckle up, use version control, and enjoy the ride. Thanks for tuning in to Coding Content, where we make coding a little less intimidating and a lot more entertaining. Until next time, keep on coding, and may your commits be ever in your favor.